Please do not enter that gentle beam. Courage. This is before the Courage rover collided with the Earth. The ground staff sent it a final warning. Because the beam is usually written as death in English, so this sentence is actually encouraging the Courage rover to be reawakened. So, what did the Courage rover experience before this? Maybe you don't know that the Courage rover is actually a twin rover with the Opportunity rover. Since the 1960s, humans have started exploring Mars. But due to technical limitations and the location of Mars, most of the missions have failed. Until 1997, the Mars explorer successfully landed on Mars. The Courage rover he was carrying became the first Mars rover to operate on the surface of Mars. And the Courage rover worked on Mars for 3 months. It sent back more than 10,000 photos and a lot of scientific data to Earth, and even found signs of life on Mars. This made the red planet a focus of human attention again. But the Courage rover itself did not carry many scientific instruments, and the range of activities was very limited. So, NASA began to plan to launch a more powerful Mars explorer. In 2000, after 7 years of research and development, NASA built 2 high-performance Mars explorers. They are 1.5 meters high, 2.3 meters wide, 1.6 meters long, and weigh 174,000 grams. Not only did they install a computer that could execute about 20 million commands per second in their brains, but also equipped with 128 megabytes of RAM and 256 megabytes of storage. Although these hardware looks quite backward now, it was top-notch technology at the time. Not only that, the staff also installed 6 wheels for them. Each wheel is equipped with an independent motor control system, which allows them to move on the complex Mars terrain. In addition to a large number of scientific instruments, they were also equipped with solar panels. With solar energy, about 900 Wh of electricity can be generated per day on Mars. These power supplies can work for 4 hours even at night. When the Mars rover was completed, NASA considered launching 2 Mars rovers at once. This was a milestone in the history of Mars exploration. It was also an important milestone in the human exploration of the universe. In order to inspire students to explore the universe, they finally decided to give the naming rights to teenagers. All students who go to school in the United States can participate in this Mars rover naming competition. After collecting more than 10,000 names, the 9-year-old girl from Arizona, USA, Chris, finally won the crown. The courage and opportunity she proposed are reflected in many proposals. It means that exploring Mars not only requires great courage, but also a rare opportunity. On June 10, 2003, the courage that was hoped for was launched first. With the rocket slowly taking off, it also indicated that it would start a legendary journey. In fact, Mars is not far from us. Due to the orbit, the closest time is only 55 million kilometers away from us, and the farthest time can reach 400 million kilometers. The reason for choosing to launch in this window period is because it only takes 6 months to go to Mars at this time. On January 4, 2004, the Courage finally entered the orbit of Mars. However, the most dangerous part has just begun, because landing on Mars has never been an easy thing. In order to land on Mars, the spacecraft must go through 3 processes: landing and landing. And this process is very fast. There are only a brief 6 minutes before and after. Besides, the atmosphere of Mars is less than 1% of the Earth's. This means that the spacecraft cannot be like the Earth. Using the combination of air resistance and parachute, it can complete the final deceleration. In addition, it takes 10 minutes for Mars to communicate with the Earth. The ground staff cannot operate in real time. The whole process can only be carried out by the pre-written landing program. When the Courage enters the atmosphere of Mars at a speed of 19,000 kilometers per hour, everyone sweats for it. At this time, the temperature of the heat shield rises to a high temperature of 1,600 degrees Celsius, but the inside remains room temperature. When it drops to 5 meters, the speed of the spacecraft decelerates to about 2 miles per hour. The parachute is also opened at this time. Then it's time to land. The spacecraft first throws off the heat shield, and then opens the full body package of buffer airbags for deceleration. At the last moment of landing, the parachute opens the lower anti-push rocket to reduce the speed to the lowest. Under such a series of operations, the Courage finally landed in the Gusev impact pit. But due to communication delays, the ground staff still does not know if the Courage has successfully landed. With the launch of the airbag and the landing gear, the Courage successfully connected to the Odyssey satellite on the orbit of Mars. Then it sent back the first photo it took. The photo shows black sand and rock on the ground of Mars. Everywhere is red. From this moment on, the ground staff began to work and rest on Mars Day. Because the design of the Courage is only 90 days. The tasks it undertook were very difficult, including exploring whether Mars ever existed, studying Mars climate characteristics, describing Mars geological characteristics, and preparing these 4 tasks for the future immigration of humans to Mars. They have to fight to complete the goal. It is worth noting that the Gusev impact pit where the Courage landed was once suspected by scientists, can help us understand Mars better. So it became the target of the Gusev. and the location of the Gusev was later named the Columbia Memorial Station. In commemoration of the Columbia spacecraft disaster, 7 astronauts died in this incident. They will stay here to explore the courage of the universe. And in the following time, the Gusev began to explore the characteristics of the surrounding ground, looking for evidence that life and water existed, and obtained a lot of scientific data. On the 63rd Mars day of the Gusev accidentally found the sunset scene and took such a special photo. The white dot in it is the Earth. It is hard to imagine that we rely on the home planet to survive. It is so small on Mars. And as time went by, the Gusev soon passed 90 days. This made everyone feel incredible, because it uses solar panels, and the sand and dust weather on Mars is very frequent. Once the solar panels are covered by dust, it means that the mission is over. On March 2005, there was a strong sandstorm on Mars. Its suction range reached half of Mars. The Gusev was also in a state of sleep before this. In order to save electricity, it woke up again. However, when the ground staff wiped his sweat, the sandstorm not only did not cover the dust on the Gusev, but also accidentally helped to clean the dust on the solar panels. This made the Gusev regenerate. The ground staff therefore had a bold idea. If the Gusev relies on sand and dust to clean the dust, maybe it can continue to work. However, it didn't last long. On May 1, 2009, the Gusev's wheels accidentally fell into the soft sand. Oxygen is hidden under the sand, and the internal resistance of oxygen is very small. The wheels can't get enough traction. When this happened, the ground staff thought of all kinds of ways. Even in the same scene where the Gusev was trapped on Earth, they couldn't save it. What's worse is that the Gusev's solar panel angle is very bad at this time. In addition, winter is coming. Only a small amount of electricity can be obtained on each day of Mars. The decrease in electricity caused the Gusev to lose contact with the Earth occasionally. Until March 22, 2010, the Gusev fell into sleep mode forever. The ground staff also started calling it and trying to restart it. On May 25, 2011, NASA held a press conference and announced that after trying to call the Gusev more than 1,300 times, they failed to wake it up. They officially announced the end of the Gusev's mission. Although the Gusev lost contact with us forever, it relied on its stubborn willpower and worked on Mars for 2,269 days. Its design lifespan is only 90 days, and it traveled 7.73 kilometers during the period. It took a total of 128,224 photos to the Earth. It can be said that it has been very successful. If the Gusev wasn't trapped by the Gusev, it might have worked longer. Goodbye, Gusev.